Okay, number 49, you got Rutgers. And Rutgers, ironically, if you make a direct comparison with Virginia Tech, Rutgers has defeated Virginia Tech the last 2 years. Going 7-6 at Rutgers the last 2 years and going to bowl games and playing like decent opponents in bowl games, Miami and Kansas State, that's a hell of a job from Greg Schiano. 18-20 in the Big Ten the last 3 seasons. And Rutgers, if you track Rutgers from the time they joined the Big Ten in 2014 up until Schiano, they were getting their brains beat in. They lost 21 consecutive conference games in the Big Ten. Schiano is an excellent coach. This program's been awful forever, and now they are producing NFL players. And the recruiting's on an upswing. We raised Rutgers from 48. Actually, they stayed in the same range there from 48, 49 after another 7-6 year. Maryland, okay, the other thing that I stated, that's right, and we made some changes. We made some changes from 50 to 136. So if you joined us for the first show, I said I didn't give this the one final once over. I gave it about a 6 over, but I should have given it one more look because I'm going to make a change here. I'm going to elevate Rutgers past Maryland. And I know Maryland just had one down season at 4-8. They went 8-5, 8-5. But I do trust Greg Schiano as a better coach than Mike Locksley. So I'm going to make a slight change there. And I'm also going to elevate those two programs past Pitt because they do play in the Big Ten. And they will be benefiting. Well, they've already benefited, but will even more benefit from this new TV deal kicking in where they make so much more money. So I'm going to elevate Maryland and Rutgers. They are still not the programs that Michigan State are, but we're going to throw them there. And of course, this thing threw me off. Okay. And then, okay, I feel okay with the rest of that right there for now. Then we go to Pitt. And Pitt really the last 2 years has not been impressive. So they dropped from 39 to 49, even though 7-6 doesn't seem like a bad season. Pitt the year before went 3-9. And this 7-6 year, they started 7-0. They lost their last 6 games. And that 7-0 start was the biggest smoke and mirror 7-0 in recent college football memory. They beat no one. Yeah. They are having their best season since the late 80s. They won the ACC title in 2021. But again, this 7-6 year that they just had, horrible. Pat Narduzzi is 72-56 since he took over the Pitt program. Of course, he was Mark D'Antonio's defensive coordinator at Michigan State. All right, we still have Mississippi State despite a woeful year. We're not going to overreact significantly to one season. I still believe Mississippi State is in a just smidge. When you're number 48 and you're comparing to 49 and 50, again, we're splitting hairs here, but Mississippi State in the SEC draws more people to the games than Pitt certainly does, or Indiana, or Georgia Tech. And for that matter, Maryland and Rutgers. They got a dedicated fan base, but Jeff Lebby got off to an awful start at 2-10. And we know what happened here at Mississippi State in the last 3 years. They lose one of the better coaches in college football in Mike Leach. They give the reins to Zach Arnett, their defensive coordinator. He bombs. They only gave him 10 games. And then they finish out that season and go with Jeff Lebby. So much to be seen here from Mississippi State with a new head coach who's never been a head coach in major college football. But they're coming off their worst season since 2002. At number 45, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, so then we got Rutgers. We talked about Rutgers, and we talked about Maryland at 46. Mike Locksley had it going well with 3 consecutive wins, and Maryland should take advantage, and they have to a certain extent in recruiting. The DMV is exceptional in recruiting, but Maryland, coming off an atrocious 1-8 season in the Big Ten, drops from 40 to 46. Then we've got Michigan State coming off a 5-7 season, 14-22 the last 3 years. Jonathan Smith did a remarkable job at Oregon State. It's one of the great jobs in recent college football. Mel Tucker took over in 2020, had the big 2021 season. It looked like Michigan State may be onto something. They went to the Peach Bowl, finished in the top 10. And then, of course, Mel Tucker acts like a fool and he gets fired. He's out. And we've got a whole Mel Tucker lawsuit situation going on currently. This is very much a blue collar program built in the image of course, Mark D'Antonio did things at Michigan State that nobody's done since the 1960s. We'll see. With Jonathan Smith being very much a quarterback whisperer, Aiden Childs, very athletic quarterback from Michigan State, maybe they can do something this year and get back to at least bowl play. Okay, UCLA's at number 44. They dropped from 33. They lost their head coach, and Chip Kelly, of course, he decided to be an OC at Ohio State and has now moved on to the NFL. And Deshaun Foster takes over at UCLA. Now, the early returns were not impressive. UCLA basically, besides a win against Hawaii, lost 5 consecutive games, but they recovered from an awful start. They played well down the stretch. They beat Nebraska. They beat Iowa. They were competitive against everyone else. So even though Deshaun Foster looked like he was in over his head, never a coordinator, let alone a head coach, as one of the great running backs in the history of the school and an NFL running backs coach, maybe Deshaun Foster made it through the rough time. Maybe they can do something. He needs the support of the school. They don't have that. Didn't necessarily need that in the Pac-12 to be a decent team, but they will need that in the Big Ten. And there you see 22-16, which means they were 17-9 the couple previous years. So UCLA can win. I've always been fascinated with UCLA. I see no excuse for them not being a major brand in college football, considering where they're located.